Yes, I work for Longwood. I'm a molecular microbiologist, and so I work with bacteria. And what I'm going to talk about today is how do we talk to bacteria, or how do bacteria communicate? So, us humans, we have our 5 senses. We have sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. And we're pretty good at saying what things we like to see, what things we like to smell, what things we like to taste, what things we like to touch, and also what things we like to hear. And also the other way around. Whatever you do, never see this film. Just keep your shoes on, please. I don't care what anyone says, fermented fish sauce is not nice. Never pick up a lamprey or hagfish, and just never go to a Justin Bieber concert. And so we're pretty good at this communication thing. We have things like Facebook, Twitter, all those kind of things. And with a population of about 7,504,635,275, and that was at 11 o'clock this morning, we're pretty good at communicating with one another. But we're not the most populous organism on this planet. And there's something which is even better at communication than we are. Bacteria. Bacteria cover this planet. So there's about, and it's a bit of an estimate at the moment, 5 million, trillion bacteria on this planet. So that's 5 followed by 30 zeros. And these guys actually are able to communicate with one another pretty well. So how do they do it? Well, this is bacteria, this is Bob. He likes swimming around. And he has to make a decision. What's a nice situation for him? Where does he go? Should he stay or should he go? So how does he do that? How does he make those decisions? Well, if we sort of open Bob up, I'm sorry Bob, if we open Bob up and actually look on the inside, this is what we generally see. Bob has DNA, which is like his blueprint, which tells us the instructions on how to make Bob. He also has ribosomes, which are the factory systems within Bob. So these ribosomes actually build and make the building blocks which make Bob up. Try and say that again. So which can make Bob up. Bob's bits and pieces. So he has these 2 systems. So if we actually take a closer look inside Bob, and if we delve further in, this is what we see. So Bob communicates or senses the environment using a 2-component system. So this is Bob. This is like Bob's outer skin, if you like, or his outer wall. So we've got our DNA, our blueprint, and we've got our ribosomes, the factories. So Bob has these things. He has a sensor. This sensor sits on the wall, on Bob's outer surface, and sort of into the environment. On that sensor is a phosphate group. He also has a regulator. Now what happens? Bob is happily swimming around, and he comes across something in his environment. So this might be a good thing, it might be something like oxygen, it might be some nutrients, or it might be something bad like a drug or a different chemical. And that substance stimulates the sensor. And that sensor sends across the phosphate group to the regulator, which is stimulated. And then that regulator sends a message out to Bob's DNA and Bob's ribosomes and factories. And so Bob can actually produce different things to make him change his decision or to do specific things. So using a 2-component system, what might happen to Bob? Well, Bob might grow some more sort of tails, if you like. And that might make Bob move sort of further away to a different environment. If Bob finds himself into an environment which has drugs or antibiotics which might kill Bob, these drugs might come into Bob and they might stimulate the 2-component system. And that might actually make Bob produce an enzyme that goes around and destroys all the drugs in the system. So it's enabling Bob to actually survive in this kind of environment. So that's the 2-component system. That is how Bob senses the environment. So Bob, I'm afraid, is a bit fictional. This is a real thing. This is Xanthomonas. Xanthomonas is actually a plant pathogen. And this is a real 2-component system here. So it has It's sensor on the outside, it's response regulator which activates the gene. Nice and simple, yeah? Well, not quite. That two-component system actually activates another gene as well in xanthomonas DNA. And that produces a protection system, another gene or another protein. But then it also has another two-component system, which is activated by another sensor, which activates that gene, which then goes on to activate that DNA, which then actually activates something else, another protein, which activates another bit of DNA. And then that produces something else. And then there's another two-component system producing another gene, another protein, acting on the same gene again. And then there's another two-component system activating back on that. And then there's another one, which activates all this whole system around here, which produces that protein, which activates on that DNA, and also that section of the DNA as well. And then another two-component system activating on a different gene, on a different bit of DNA, which produces a different protein. And then there's another two-component system, which produces something else, another sensor, which activates another response regulator, acting on another protein, back into that circular system, but then that also activates that, which actually back activates that. So it's a little bit more complicated than just a simple two-component system. So these bugs have all these different sensory systems which help them find their environment, find out the best situation and where to live. And it's sort of like a Facebook for genes, if you like. So all these genes communicate with one another. So GeneBook actually helps you connect and share with the genes in your life. So these genes communicate with one another. Some genes may not talk to others, but their friends, their genes may talk to something else. So that's how Bob senses the environment. But how does he communicate to other bacteria, to other Bobs swimming around? Well, not quite with text messaging, unfortunately. What Bob does, he actually produces these chemicals. And these chemicals sort of exude out of Bob when he's sort of in different areas. And these chemicals will actually stimulate another two-component system in other bacteria. And so these bacteria respond with more chemicals producing. So it's sort of like a communication using chemicals, and we call this called sensing. So think about it quite like if you have a wasp. So if a wasp stings, it actually releases pheromones. And these are chemical compounds for communication. And as these pheromones, as other wasps detect these pheromones, they swarm and they come after you and they chase you because they think they're under attack. So that communication between wasps is all done using chemicals, and it's a very similar thing for coral sensing. So you're probably asking why? Why is this so important? Let's take another bacteria. This is Pseudomonas. Pseudomonas you find everywhere. It's in the ground, it's on plants, in different environments, but it also infects humans as well. And it can cause a number of different types of infections. So anything from something like swimmer's ear, hot tub rash, infections in contact lenses, that's a common one with Pseudomonas. If, for instance, you might have cystic fibrosis, Pseudomonas can actually cause infection and lung damage in the lungs. It really likes, for some reason, it actually it's quite prevalent in burns victims or puncture wounds, and it causes serious infections with them. And it's easily spread as well. And the problem with Pseudomonas is it actually forms biofilms, so these are congregations of bacteria all together. And these biofilms can actually cover things like catheters or IV drips. And these biofilms are very resistant to antibiotics. So Pseudomonas, all of these things, all of these infections, these biofilms, is all communicated within Pseudomonas using these two-component systems we call them sensors. So the idea is, can we actually stop this communication happening? Can we design a drug which actually stops the sensor detecting the environment? Can we design a drug that might stop that phosphate group being transmitted between the sensor and the regulator? Or can we design a drug that will actually stop the communication from the regulator to the DNA or to the ribosomes, the factory housing of Bob, and stop Bob responding to these different environments? And if we stop responding to these different environments, then with any luck, I'm sorry to say, it might be bye-bye Bob. We might actually be able to prevent infection from these organisms. So, this little insight into how bacteria communicate and how communication systems work with bacteria. These communications help bacteria identify great places to grow or bad places to grow so they can avoid it. They can enable the bacteria to adapt to changing conditions. They can change the behaviour of the bacteria and make bacteria form biofilms, which actually increase protection for the bacteria and actually enable bacteria to resist antibiotics and drugs. So by developing these drugs to combat these two component systems, hopefully we can prevent infections and actually control damage caused by these bacteria. So that was a very brief look for two component systems, and thank you very much.